who doesn't know NeuroTechX at all? Who's hearing NeuroTechX for the first time? Who's the first event for NeuroTechX? All right, so the majority knows us. It's a good thing because I think I know the majority of you as well. So we'll go shortly about what is NeuroTechX, and then we'll dive right into the program for tonight. Alright, so there's a bit of a delay. But, so NeuroTechX is an international community or not-for-profit organization with the mission to facilitate the advancement of neurotechnology. So we do that with a bottom-up approach. It's a very ambitious yet super exciting mission that we have started now almost 2 years ago when we decided to go international with this initiative. So how do we do that? How do we facilitate the advancement of neurotechnology of such a complicated multidisciplinary field? So in order to do that, we focus on 3 main pillars, which is community, education, and innovation. So we focus a lot on people, bringing people together, making sure that we have a strong community and strong peoples, both locally and internationally. Education is we try to facilitate access to resources, knowledge, developing technical skills. So we do things like hack nights, where people come together, start different projects, and really develop technical skills by working hands-on on projects. So we can talk a bit more about the different initiatives. I'm going to go very quick about NeuroTech because most of you already know the organization, and all the information is available on our website and through our media kits and whatnot. So the third one is innovation. So once we have people that are educated, that do have skills, then it becomes kind of a byproduct that innovation will spear out of it. So you'll make startups tackle challenges and things like that, and beautiful projects will emerge from such a network. But we're really now focusing on the 2 first. So we're not an incubator, we're not an accelerator per se. We're trying to really just facilitate the 2 first, people and education, and then focus on innovation and creating businesses. But because the field is so early, we're really trying to focus on the ground root initiatives. So with that in mind, these are some of our main initiatives on which we focus in order to accomplish our mission. So one of the main initiatives that is very popular is our NeuroTechX Slack. So there's an online chat now with 1,700 people or so from all over the world with different skills, level of education. So very wide community that is accessible online. For local community, we have what we call the chapters. So NeuroTech Montreal is the Montreal chapter of NeuroTechX. We now have chapters in 18 cities around the world. I'll come back on it in a few seconds. NeuroTechX EDU, so the EDU platform, which is an educational online platform. One of the things that the community raised as a concern was the access of information. So people that are doing their PhD in the field, they've spent months, years, Googling and finding that information, but people that doesn't have the time to do a PhD or doesn't want to spend 3 years of learning on neurotechnology, that can be accelerated. So this is something that we're working hard on to really facilitate that access to information. So kind of be the Google for neurotechnology, make it more digestible and more accessible. The Student Club is one initiative that we are really proud of. So a lot of people are undergrads and don't have access to neurotechnology, whether it's to work on projects or discuss with other people. So they watch videos on YouTube, they're super inspired, and yet, like myself years ago, I was telling to myself, I'm just an engineer, electrical engineer, what can I really do in neurotechnology? I want to meet other people, and this is why now today we started our initiative of Student Club so that undergrads can work together on different projects. So we started a pilot project, I'll come back again in a few seconds on it. We started a pilot project last year, and now we're about 15 student clubs in different universities, so we're really proud of that as well. And the last one is NeuroTechX Services, so now that we have a broader community from talents, but also companies in the industry coming to us asking to recruit people or to do consulting to get expertise. So we started offering these services as well. So we have a couple of things as well. So we're kind of trying to go kind of 360 over the NeuroTech field with different initiatives, always with a bottom-up approach for the field. So I'm not sure if you can really see it, so I'll go through it really quickly. So basically the timeline, our history. So we started NeuroTechX early 2015 was really discussion. So people were just talking about this crazy idea of having an international network. We wanted to meet and get people together, invite speakers, and do more events in neurotechnology to first accelerate our own career, but also just like bring other people as well in this and to validate the idea. So a couple months later, NeuroTech is born, and a couple of months later, we now have 10 chapters around the world, and people are asking us, can I open a chapter all over the world? And then we're like, wow, okay, this is going too fast, too big, too quick. We need to put a brake on it. So we decided to slow down a little to really understand what the community is and what does it mean first to have a chapter to start a community in neurotechnology. So because it's a marathon and we take it really seriously, we didn't want like everybody to just open a chapter and lose control over what they're doing, what they're talking about, what kind of message they're sending, etc., etc. So when you start kind of an initiative with few people and then suddenly scale all over the world with a lot of people, it's a volunteer, it's mainly a volunteer-driven initiative in NeuroTech. So we had a lot of people over the world, a lot of volunteers that wanted to help, but we needed to control a bit more of our processes. So we decided to slow the growth a little. So that was kind of nice problem to have when you're scaling too fast, but still a problem that you need to address and control. A little bit later, we started the student club, then the EDU, the competition, and now today offering the NeuroTech services. So it's been a hell of a journey so far. Here's a demo that we did at ETS last year. That was the pilot project in Montreal. So we helped work with Concordia, McGill, ETS, and Polytechnic to create student clubs in these 4 universities, and also onboarding University of Toronto, trying to understand what the distance means when they're not in the same city in terms of the student club. Are they going to cooperate? Are they going to talk online? Are they not? How it's going to scale, so that then we can make it more international and bring student clubs in other universities as well. So we had a demo day with these 5 student clubs. It was really a nice event. And now, as I said, we now have about 15 student clubs in different universities. And again, controlling the growth, trying to go crazy with it, but people are super excited about having student clubs and so being able to work as undergrads in neurotechnology. So just a quick map of where we are. The stats are now, I should have updated maybe the maps before. The stats are a little duplicated now, but so these are where we have chapters, and the other statistics as well is really just people reaching out to us to either get involved in the organization or open chapters. So there's definitely a worldwide interest in this super exciting field, as you will see tonight in the different talks presentation. And the way we like to see ourselves sometimes, the way I like to see the organization is also comparing with the Homebrew Computer Club, where people like Wozniak, Steve Jobs, and our people, especially Wozniak with his hacker, maker mindset. So it was less of a businessman and more of a hacker, and let's make computer PC accessible. And then we all know the story of Apple now, the rest is history. But it really was Homebrew Computer Club, for those who doesn't know the organization. It was in Silicon Valley, which I guess you all know, a group of hackers, makers that just enjoy computer. They were seeing kind of like it's coming. It's the next big thing, so let's get together, let's hack, let's develop some skills, let's build things. Not necessarily to start a business, maybe not, but just put a passion in it. Just because it's coming, it's the next big thing, and you want to be part of it. So sometimes this is kind of where we see NeuroTech being right now. We're in touch with the founder of the Computer Club. He actually went to the Silicon Valley Hack Nights. So a little cliche, the Hack Nights in San Francisco are happening every week in a garage. So a bunch of people, a bunch of hackers from different backgrounds, PhDs, masters, undergrads, technical people getting together to hack on neurotechnology and try ideas. So I won't go any longer in NeuroTech because I think that we have a nice presentation, nice other stuff in NeuroTech for tonight. So I would like first to thank WeWork. So we just had a small word about the venue. I think it's a nice venue. We have beer, we have drinks. So I'd like just to start with a round of applause for WeWork for hosting us tonight. And so just before we start the other presentation, we have Nicole from McGill as well, who's gonna present McGill innovation programs. So as I said, innovation, NeuroTechnology is getting really exciting. It's not prime time, it's really still very early, as we'll see tonight, but it's starting to be exciting enough so that business starts emerging, and McGill is definitely moving forward for trying to capitalize or at least help in that innovation. So Nicole.
Hi, I'm Nicole from McGill.
We're going to go kind of rapid fire a little. I think it's going to be interesting. Well, for you who do have an interest in the first place in neurotechnology, you'll learn a lot of different stuff. So instead of taking notes, bring your camera and take pictures of the screen. I think there will be a lot of information. We'll go fast because we're a little bit late on the schedule. So and WeWork don't want us to stay here too late. So we'll respect that. I hope that you had a meaningful conversation with networking. You probably learned something that sometimes you want to meet a lot of people. You need to also speed network. Do it quick and make the most out of it. Otherwise, you can drag one conversation. You're like, oh, it's already over. Damn it. So for the other part of the talk, we'll just cover quickly all the headlines, big news, then bring the interfaces just really quickly. It's been explained before. The consumer space, I think that a lot of you are interested in project and commercialization, so we'll talk about the consumer space, some cool projects, and then we'll end up the presentation with some thought on what's coming for the field, how we should approach the field of neurotechnology from the years to come, and then if we have time for questions, I'll try to have some time for it. So, really quickly, we'll start with a disclaimer. Obviously, this is all my own opinion. I'm going to talk because, as I said, I follow the field a lot. And as we go into the field of neurotechnology more and more in years to come, there's some great area that some marketers and some companies are trying to tap into, which sometimes it's okay, sometimes a bit less. I'm definitely not a neuropolice trying to call bullshit. What I'm trying to do is really sharpen your critical thinking, aka your BS meter, so that when you see neuro X, neuro Y, neuro Z, you have some red flags that might come to your mind to protect yourself from false marketing and advertising. So let's just jump right into it. We recently had some really crazy news from, as was mentioned before, Brian Johnson with Kernel, then Elon Musk, then recently Facebook. So Facebook announced that they want to type directly from your brain. Obviously Facebook is the owner of Oculus, so virtual reality. So what it means is basically in a headset in VR, you would be able to type with your brain. So Facebook put some number and they said 100 words per minute. So that's actually quite a lot. People good typing speed would be 60, and now they want to really increase that output to 100 words per minute and have some mouse click as well in the mix. So obviously, take that with a grain of salt. We're definitely not there yet. One of the studies that they mentioned, we'll see a bit the state of the art of the BCI, trying to compare what they said to the state of the art, what it's currently. So here's if you just follow the buzzline, there's so many exciting stuff popping left and right on the internet. One here that was posted that I'm really excited about was posted by Olivier Valentin here, working, as you said earlier, with in-ear EEG and BCI stuff. So that's pretty cool. Just below Elon Musk, pretty much the same thing. No pressure. So obviously as well, big projects, I'm going to briefly talk about it a bit later. The Human Brain Project, so a massive 1 billion euros as a project. They recently, I think last month or 2 months ago or something like that, just decided to shift a little. Was heavily criticized as a project because they have a lot of money and they tried one way, and now they pivoting with that money to make the best use out of it. So on the other side, we see a lot of that kind of stuff also. Now that everybody is excited, we have the technology and all the news, and now the cyborgs. So are we going to become cyborgs or not? I'm going to pass a little on this one. If we have time, we'll come back on the cyborgs and the human combining with the machine later on. But the big question is the next revolution neurotechnology? Is it the next big thing? Obviously, when you have something else like machine learning and artificial intelligence, now it's suddenly the next big thing, and biotech and neurotech. Is it the next big thing? So some people like Tim O'Reilly behind the O'Reilly company said that yes, we're just entering the era of brain-machine interface, and some people obviously take the Elon Musk, Brian Johnson, and others say that we're not there yet. Just take it easy, just yet. So what I'm going to try to show you tonight is where we are, where we're going, and some exciting stuff. So I'm going to pass through a lot of news just to give you a broad picture of the current field. So let's start with first the word neurotechnology. So a lot of people are super excited about the field, but the word doesn't even exist just yet in the dictionary, actually. So if you look in some of the dictionary, it's not, so you'll get redirected to nanotechnology, biotechnology, and other technology, but neurotechnology is so new that it doesn't actually necessarily exist as a word, both in French and English in most dictionary. So just to give you kind of like an insight of how emerging, how new, we're just getting started with this combination. Neuroscience has a very long history, but combining with neurotechnology, and especially for the consumer-facing technology, that's kind of really a new thing. So again, the 4 big news, I think that took most of the attention: Brian Johnson, Elon Musk, and Mark Zuckerberg. So just quickly so that everybody understands what they are proposing. So kernel is talking about a neural processes, which means basically a chip that you put in your brain to replace, enhance, modify part of your brain. So for example, one of the things that they are working on is based on DARPA's research. Ted Berger, he was working on memory encoding. So basically replacing your hippocampus, for example, with a chip. So instead of having like a bio memory, you would have a chip. For your memory, and then cognitive enhancement. So that's really the long game here for kernel. So really invasive technology, see a chip that you implant in your brain. Elon Musk with neural link, so based on neural lace, so basically see that as a mesh, so really kind of like a net around your brain or part of your brain with a lot of sensors. So we mentioned earlier like invasive electrodes or outside electrodes, non-invasive, but the neural lace is really kind of like a mesh, so that you have a lot of electrodes and a lot of sensors around either your full brain, that's kind of the goal, or part of it. So we'll see, some of you have also heard about neural dust. Also kind of similar concept, we'll talk about it a bit later. The other one, Facebook. So Facebook is non-invasive. Obviously they are consumer facing, so they know that in the next 5-10 years you're not going to implant a chip in your brain. Well, just actually, quick question, just by show of hands, who here would, so let's say that you have a chip that can enhance your memory 10x. So tenfold. There is no downside of the surgery. It's been done thousands of times, no side effect, no danger. It just increased your memory 10x. Who would get the chip? All right, cool. So let's make it happen. So the next big one. So Facebook, non-invasive. We'll talk about it a bit later. And open water is also super excited because it's kind of a different angle from what we see nowadays in a lot of electrical activity of the brain. What they are trying to do as Facebook as well, they are using the optical imaging path. So basically, instead of having the electrical activity straight from EEG or light, so you send light in the brain, you listen to the light going out of the brain, then you do inference of what was happening in the brain. So NeuroTech is coming, there's no doubt about it, but it's really just getting started, so we'll take it step by step. So the state of the art of the brain interfaces right now, it's been kind of covered a bit by Etienne, so I won't go too far into it, but just keep in mind that it was really created, worldwide, kind of like was the most cited paper in the field for communication control. So the field of BCI was really created not for typing faster in VR, but really for communication control for disabled people. And the kind of thing that was really kind of pioneering the field was to first trying to control robotic arm and typing with your brain and computer. We won't go through to the video, but these are, if you've Googled, you've probably seen some of these images and these videos, where basically you do have a implanted technology, and then you have a wire kind of coming out of your skull, and then you're wired to your computer, which controls a robotic arm, and then you train on your motor cortex. So basically really thinking about moving your real arm, but you train for hours and hours and hours, and then the system. So it's a dual training. So BCI is really kind of like a dual training. It's both ways. So it's you learning the machine learning you, and over time you get better, both of you, to like kind of like get the perfect sync of the goal that you're trying to achieve, which is moving your robotic arm. So one that we might just look really shortly is this one that was kind of released not so long ago, early 2017, which is BrainGate 2, which is kind of the real first BCI home clinical trial. Yeah, can you press play and try to just, we're not going to listen to it all, just bring it to, like, slide it if you can to the part where she's actually controlling the screen to give you kind of like a feeling of what's happening. So they're really trying to bring this technology at home, which is like no one really actually at this point in time buy BCI device and go back home when you're locked in your wheelchair and suddenly you just have like a BCI that just works and you can control your apartment. This is not where we are right now. in research lab, we are trying to control environment, but it's super controlled with experts next to you to do it. Can you find the, where she's typing? Because that's the study that Facebook are actually citing and saying that this is where we are in the state of the art when she, so she have implanted technology on her brain over the motor cortex, and then she just trained about moving the cursor as she would move her arm. So instead of having your arm in 3D here moving, you're just imagining it, and then it moves. So right now we're currently about like 12 to 40 character per minute, so which is about 6 to 8 word minutes, which is kind of pretty cool, pretty good, but still super invasive, super controlled, and there's only a handful of people in the world that actually has that technology implanted right now. So BrainGate is really kind of like the leading project in this space right now. Thanks. Disconnected my clicker. All right. So I'm going to skip this one, but another kind of work that is being done that is super super exciting, I think, is instead of just controlling your like a cursor or a robotic arm, like a machine, you're actually controlling your own arm. So this is a similar project as well. So two kind of like state-of-the-art story right now, where so you have the same kind of thing here, if you can see, the same kind of technology implanted, but now instead of controlling a robotic arm, you're controlling your own arms, which is being stimulated electrically. So you're sending electrical stimuli to your different nerves and muscles that will react to your brain. So basically, you're kind of like regaining control of over your own arm. So that's pretty. So that was done in 2014 when he received it. The first movement was really just kind of like super low resolution, where it could just kind of like flex very basically. And now he's kind of playing Guitar Hero, so he's able to control his fingers independently, but it takes a lot of training, a lot of time, again, supervised with experts surrounding him. So this is kind of just to give you a glimpse of where we are right now. We're not like nobody can buy a BCI and go home and just like the technology works. It's still in the lab, but just the fact that 2 slides ago, what I presented with the phase 1 clinical trial for safety and usability. So we're really trying to see how can we bring this home with all the complexity of the locked-in paralyzed people do have in their day, because you cannot just like work from time to time with just, yeah, okay result. It needs to really be good. So that was kind of the state of the art for BCI. Just quickly over NeuroTechnology, because there's so many things in the field happening right now. So the first question is, who's really pushing this field? Who's really the kind of pioneers behind most of what you see? DARPA. DARPA is just, they're telling you, they're just like all over the place in terms of brain computer interfaces. A lot of the research on which some companies are emerging are based on DARPA's public funded research, and they are kind of like acquiring or hiring people that were working for DARPA. If you think about like Elon Musk kernel, they are basically like handpicking people that were working with DARPA on a project, and because they have gained some expertise, now they want to make a spin-off out of it. So definitely, if you're interested, just check DARPA, their list of project, and read all through a different initiative. They are really exciting. One that I personally love is restoring active memory RAM. So for PTSD, for example, trying to decide what memory gets encoded in your brain and what memory gets erased from your brain. So PTSD is a big problem for military, and definitely they want to be able to control that erased memory, not encode the memory in the first place when the action happened, and stuff like that. So NeuroTech actually, one of the mentors is the leading, one of the director of the project. So it's pretty exciting. A lot of machine learning is happening because a lot of the stuff here is basically trying to do prediction, inference, and things like that in memory. It's going to encode yes, no, and mix technology with biosignals. So a lot of machine learning happening in that space. Another kind of, I would say, project that I personally like is this one from DARPA using the Mayo. So Mayo is an EMG armband, so basically measuring your muscle activity. So this is not related to your brain, it's really just your muscle here, residual muscle, what is still active that you can still use, and then you control a prosthetic arm. It could be 3D printed, so like ETS for the student club that I mentioned just before, for the competition, this is kind of what they did. So they did 3D printed prosthetics, and they tried to control it with the Mayo armband. So that's pretty DIY for like $300, or like about that budget, $500, you can do kind of what DARPA is doing, just lower resolution. one of the, if you're into the field, you definitely know about this guy who's well known for a lot of stuff, and one of them is animal research. So obviously, if you're not really, you don't really like animal research, I'm going to skip quickly on this one. But he's definitely one of the pioneers. He won this year Emerging Technology Award. He's really one of the godfather as well of the BCI field. He's well known for his brain net, so trying to connect multiple animals together to control something. So he's really interested in how can you, just with part of the problem, doing some cooperation with another brain to achieve your task. So basically here, what he's doing is that you have a monkey trying to move a robotic arm to get the juice in 3 dimensions. And each one of them is controlling, well, 2D, but let's see it like 1D. So for example, one monkey is controlling the Z, another the X, and the other the Y axis. And the 3 of them need to move the robot arm. So the monkey needs to understand that he's not fully controlling the robotic arm, and then they need to all cooperate, the 3 of them, to actually get the reward. So he's really famous for that kind of, he's done that with rats as well, and other animals where they all need to kind of sync their brain to achieve the goal. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Again, only research, obviously. So check this guy. The other one as well, it's been mentioned before, optogenetics. So we're going to talk about neurotechnology nowadays without talking about Ed Boyden from MIT Media Lab, one of the superstar in the neurotech field right now. So optogenetics, it's been kind of described earlier, but this picture is the one that went viral on the internet, obviously. So basically sending light to switch on enough neurons. And another one that went really viral was the stentro. So basically the idea is like a stent, but sending that to your blood vessel to reach your brain, and then reading brain signals, but from the blood vessel. So one of the challenges with the electrodes and implanting on the cortex and bringing kind of like technology and chips on your cortex, there's many challenges to it, and one different approach that they are trying is with stentrodes. So within the blood vessel, can we listen to the brain? So being kind of like in the brain with the blood vessel, can we listen and get good signal? So kind of different approach. The next few slides is really how can we read the brain from different angles. We all know EEG, that's one thing, but there are so many new tentative or attempts to really read the brain from different matter. So stentrode is one of them. There's a company out of Silicon Valley who was trying to commercialize the technology, as you may guess. Neural dust, super exciting as well. This is a bit older, 2013, from UC Berkeley. So neural dust is really the idea of like sending a dust all over your brain. So the main challenge with recording the brain is that normally you record only part of it, a really, really specific area, but what you want is the full story, like the whole brain. But that's super complex to do. So one approach, neural dust, is basically kind of having dust all over your brain, which are tiny piece of technology here that communicates with a still subneural transceiver and then sent back to extraneural transceiver. So then this part of technology becomes really, really small. There's no power really. You sound it's ultrasound, so you send ultrasound and then gives enough energy to resonate so that the piece of technology can resonate, and then send back information about the brain activity, and then send it back to the transceiver. So super exciting. Again, super challenging. There's a lot of challenge. Is it going to work? Is it not? It's been tested a lot in different muscles, not necessarily in the brain so much, but it works well in other muscles, where there is electrical activity as well. Neural links, so what's behind Elon Musk Neuralink startup is neural links. So the idea is really kind of, as I said before, sending a net, as you can see it, like a mesh. So basically you take a syringe and then you release the net and you try to capture, and all the net is, you can see it as like electronics, and then you can read brain signal through the net. So again, exciting technology. It's a lot of challenges. That was released in 2015. When these guys published that, I think they received, like not so long after that, they received a call saying, I want to buy your technology for X amount. I'm an investor, and now we know who the investor was. Turns out it's Elon Musk. So pretty cool when you know that your technology is in Elon Musk. So when you do that kind of technology, bandwidth, power is a big concern. So companies that have mastered that expertise of bandwidth, power, and such, they definitely have a hedge on the competition. So ARM is a good company trying to do that. So just slightly back on open water. So what is open water and the idea of optical imaging for the brain? Open water was started by Marilu Jensen, which was the fourth big news released recently. And the idea behind that, so Marilu Jensen, she's less known than Elon Musk, but still she was head of display division at Google. She's ex-head of engineering at Oculus, and she's been, she's a big name in the field. PhD in physics, so she did holographic things in like the 80s. So she's been there, and she's now really confident that she can master, or that now that we have infrared spectroscopy, that we can differentiate different tissues, we can actually master imaging the brain with that technology. That's kind of what, so optical imaging right now, what we do is kind of fMRI machines are doing is measuring your blood flow. So that's the first attempt. So sending light, you measure the blood flow. Which is super confident, and Facebook as well, what other people are trying to do now is also go deeper in the blood flow, but actually the properties of the membranes of neurons changing. So measuring electrical signal with light based on the membrane. So I'm not going to go into the physics of that. I'm just going to stay on the optical imaging side of things now as like the MRI, because open water, what it's trying to do, sort of kind of like the premise and the hypothesis, is that you have all the technology you need in your cell phone to do that kind of stuff. So basically your screen, you can send light in your brain, and then you can put your camera on the other side and record it. And basically if you take a bunch of cell phones, you can have a brain imaging device, and then it's only just a physics problem of how the light is scattering in your brain. So really exciting stuff. You should check it out if you're into physics, light, and brain. Definitely keep an eye on it, because I think that brain imaging with light is going to be a big thing over the next couple of years. For those in machine learning, obviously, next couple of years will be all about big data. So brain neuroscience, now we have more data with Game and I going open, trying to share, as I mentioned earlier, trying to share data to have access. We're going to do a lot of engineering and machine learning on it. So if you want to apply for a neural link for Elon Musk, you actually don't really, he's going to implant chips in our brain, but you don't really have to know to have experience in neuroscience, because now it's just an engineering problem. That's what he's basically saying. So a lot of machine learning is coming. Definitely, if you're into machine learning, brain will be a huge space in coming years. So quickly back on the near infrared spectroscopy. So I'm going to skip quickly, but I think this is the kind of thing that we'll see. We've seen a lot of EEG going consumer, but in the next couple of years we'll see a lot of NIRS as well. As I said, you can send light and receive light from really cheap component, so it's just a matter of physics, and as we move forward, the physics will be more and more handled and understood. So here's an example of you send light, and then you listen, you send light, and then you get the resulting light, and then you can do inference of what's happening in this region. So one of the things that it's becoming popular, will be really popular in the BCI field and other, is really kind of the hybrid system. So the goal is always to go wireless as much as possible, and also hybrid, because EEG has some pros and cons, and NIRS has pros and cons. If you bring both of them at low price, then you can do that kind of small board here and have both EEG and NIRS sensor for cheap and wireless. So then you have kind of two angles of looking at the brain. You have better resolution and better timing as well. So Hitachi proposed, I think it was released last year at XTech. So not this format, but they're trying to hit the consumer space. So rather than having like the research equipment here, you want to have a headset and go more and more consumer as the price keep on diminishing. Here, BrainSight, so Rogue Research, company from Montreal that does that kind of stuff for research jobs. So people with McGill knows that company really well. So exciting, as I said, exciting field for optical imaging and the brain. Am I going too fast, or I'm trying to kind of like go through it? Slower, faster? Still paying attention, or you just whatever? All right. So brain simulation, again, another really exciting field. It's been mentioned briefly. One of the news that was that went a bit viral for people in the field was this one, mid-2017, so really recently, using high-frequency modulation for targeted brain simulation. So the problem with brain simulation with sending electrical current is that we don't really know what's happening, where it's going. So you have your brain, you send an electrical signal, it's going all over the place, you don't really control it, so you're simulating a big region. And people, including Ed Boyden, that we've seen earlier, have published a paper using high-frequency modulation. So basically, using super high frequency, then you can target where it's going to end as an envelope. So using kind of FM kind of thing in that in the brain frequency domain. So, in the consumer space, so Sydney displayed some like the Halo Neuroscience for sports. I'm going to skip on this one. We're going to do an event on brain simulation only. One of the things that is going to be exciting, I think, for years to come, we already start seeing some companies going really heavily, is into video games, cognitive training, brain enhancement. So there's a lot of research that shows that with brain plasticity, you can really train brains with video games. It's been shown that gamers, for example, have better reaction time, better vision and contrast, and many other aspects related mainly to vision. But you can definitely embed some mechanics to train your brain while spending a lot of hours playing games and being really engaged. One of the leader in the field, Ghazali, which is really well known in the field, funded actively his company, and now they raised 72.9 billion so far for therapeutic video games. So that's pretty cool, raising 70 million for making video games for therapy. So the very interesting thing is that they are going for FDA approval. So they are currently doing clinical trials, trying to really hit the market with validated science, so not just like train your brain and postpone Alzheimer, for example, with our video game that you play 2 hours a day, but really validated science behind that. So really exciting to follow. And actually one of the good indications that this is going to be bigger and bigger is that companies like Pfizer and Merck also invested actively and are doing projects, because they see kind of like the pharma as one thing, but they need to diversify their portfolio as tech and other media are also coming. So I'm going to skip on this one. Again, we're going to do an event of just cognitive training. I'm super passionate about this field. This is part of my PhD, so I love this stuff. So we're going to do an event on just that. One of the news that was viral is Lumosity, so a big company doing brain games. Do they work? Do they not work? I'm not here to judge the science necessarily. What I want to mention is the $2 million fine that they got because of their marketing. So again, in the space right now, as soon as you start putting medical word, you're going to be checked by regulation. If you stay a little next to medical word, you're going to be safe, because it's kind of like for gamer or things like that, if you put nice words. But as long as when you start putting Alzheimer, which they did, then you need to have science to back it up. Otherwise, it's misleading for the consumer. So they got fined for that. So the consumer space, which I think is super exciting right now, we see a lot of Kickstarters. Are they good or are they bad? I'll let you decide. What it points is that a lot of people have interest, a lot of backers are also backing it. And we can also kind of like get some intuition about the trends, what people are doing, what people are buying also. So here we see that there is a lot of sleep things. I think that there will be a bigger market in sleep for years to come. As you know, like with this, we all want to enhance our sleep. It's a big part of our life, and now we think that we have better intuition in regarding our brain with sleep. So there's a lot of startups trying to address that issue. So, so there's a paper. So this is an image from a post I did, kind of like bringing all the data together. We have a good example also here tonight with Mindset that raised $1 million on Kickstarter. So good job, guys. You're still here now. You're here. So a lot of different Kickstarters all over the place, and I think that now we're still going on Indiegogo, aren't you? Yeah. So that number is probably way higher now. So really exciting field for Kickstarter, but also a lot of product that people will buy, and it's not really working. So be careful with the Kickstarters that you are backing in that space. There will be again a lot of false marketing. We're going to go in a few slides over kind of some red flags that we can see. But just before, what about real funding? So some Kickstarter, they raised money, but what about real funding? So let you just look at some of the already shown some of the company before. But a lot of companies are getting funded. Obviously, one of the things if you want to get your company funded is real science. So the bubble of way more about that than I do, but this is definitely a trend, but also kind of a pitfall to avoid, so be careful with that, because the EEG wave was with the sensor, and now people are going to try, oh, we can do that for really cheap, and I can sell it, I can kickstart it, so I'm going to do my own device that can control your cell phone with in-ear BCI device. So we should see a bunch of Kickstarter waves. Just be careful with what you see in that space. So dreaming and sleeping, again, big market that people are going to buy stuff. So when there's claims like you can now control your dreams and that you feel, so this is actually red flag number one, that you can control, and it's really affirmative that you can actually do it. When it sounds too good to be true, normally it probably is. And also red flag number two, when their marketing team seems to be better than their science team, beware of the company. If they're putting more money into marketing, it's because they are trying just to sell. So again, just my personal opinion, but when I see things like that, my red flags and my BS alert kind of goes a bit higher. So, but it might be a really nice product. I don't want to judge, I'm just saying that be aware of what you're reading with brain stuff, because there will be a lot of marketing, weird marketing happening in the coming years. We talked a lot about meditation. People in the room mentioned meditation. So Muse and Traxon is a popular device in that space. So they created the Muse headset with a device for meditation. But they are way more than a meditation company. So this is why they raised also $16 million, $17 million so far, is because they are becoming a data company. So they are really trying to get more and more data, more and more user. Because data in that space can be useful and lucrative, but they're also targeting other devices. So they've partnered with a glass company, and they release, so you will recognize the rubber conductor of the Muse, so which you have behind your ears with the Muse device if you're familiar with the device. So you basically have EEG sensors in your glass. So this is one iteration trying to embed the technology, because you're not going to wear EEG device going outside, but your glass, you're going to wear them. So as good as it not, it's one first approach to do that. Same thing with VR, so they released, well, it's not released yet, it's still early prototype, but obviously they want to embed some sensors as well with VR headsets. So that's going to be, again, a big field also to embed sensor, not just EEG, but also the full spectrum of sensor to do inference and enhance the experience and the immersion of the user, obviously. So the field, when we look back in time, I think that the pinpoint would really be 2013 with Brain Initiative from the US. But it started a bit earlier, obviously, but I think that when we pinpoint like 20 years from now to see when it really started, 2010, 2015 will be kind of like the guess. And here we see that a lot of companies that you might not really guess that are in NeuroTechnology, they don't necessarily release product, but they definitely have R&D team that work on that kind of stuff, that hire PhDs and researchers, like Microsoft, we don't really know, but they have a lot of patents on user with computers, so HCI, human computer interfaces. So a lot of they do have a lot of patent, and a bunch of them as well. So the field is really getting patented, even if you don't really feel that it's moving. There are many products behind the doors. There's a lot of stuff happening. So last section, some cool projects. If that wasn't cool enough so far with the full spectrum of different things, one of the projects that I personally liked was the Cyberman. So that happened last year, October. So the Bionic Olympics. So I think it's pretty cool. They had brain computer interfaces race. So basically, pilots doing a race while adding EEG. So one of the rules is your pilot needs to be paralyzed. I don't remember if you from the neck down, if you can have your arms, but definitely paralyzed to some extent. Cannot add a healthy subject, basically. Functional electrical stimulation bike, so basically you have your legs are paralyzed, and then you have stimulation on your muscle, and that makes you pedal, so, and the prosthesis and exoskeleton wheelchair 2.0, let's say. So pretty exciting stuff as well for the Bionic Olympics. They're going to do it 2020. Most of the people participating in this kind of stuff was the company or the researchers in that field, not necessarily like people that were just saying, I'm gonna build a device to compete, but I think that's going to be more and more accessible as it makes more and more noise, and people will be more interested in participating. Some other cool projects, so that's a bit older a little, but I think it's still always people talk about it, and sometimes talk about it the wrong way. So brain-to-brain communication, two groups did it in like 2014. more or less, and one of them is NeuroTech, that partner. So basically, brain to brain, what they did is communicated with 0 and 1. So Morse code basically for brain to brain communication. On one side, we think about, so it's motor imagery, and you think about moving your arm or your leg, and it sends either 0 or 1. So you're thinking about moving your arms, it sends a 1, feed 0, or maybe it's the opposite, so hands 1, feed 0. And on the other side, when it's received 0, it doesn't stimulate the brain, and when it's 1, it stimulates the brain, and you see phosphine. So you have your eyes closed, and then you see kind of lights appearing. So then you know it's a 1. So then you can have kind of a keyboard and say 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and goes on. So kind of like Morse code for brain-to-brain communication. So obviously, the news took it and talked about telepathy and the whole spectrum that now we can talk with brain-to-brain interfaces. So be careful again with that. The science gives you like a little 1%, and then people goes to the 1% already functional. Other things, more DIY, school, brain drone race, so controlling a drone, but basically just with consumer EEG devices where if you focus, it flies. It's already kind of pre-programmed, so that, but the fact that companies, obviously like Intel and other companies, are sponsoring that kind of BCI awareness, so they are sponsoring and putting some money in the field. The DIY and the form factor also plays a big role. I think that we'll see more and more DIY in different form factors, as EEG is one thing, you can get brain signals, but how do you make people actually wear the thing? It's okay to wear it when you're like doing things like during our hack nights, but people are they really gonna wear it on a regular basis every week? So this one is an artist sponsored by Intel with G-Tech, who does the EEG stuff. And so what she did basically is a headset for kids with ADHD, trying to do some sort of neurofeedback. There's a camera, things like that, but trying to bring the technology a bit sexier. Because the form factor is one of the big things. How do you put the electrode? Is it just like tape on top of it, or can you make it cool, at least if you're going to do something with kids, for example, for ADHD and neurofeedback. And we have also like Nicolas at the back who's kind of like similar thing, but in a baseball cap, as you said earlier. Some more machine learning to finish the presentation. Highwire, so they were the first one out of MIT Media Lab, and then Mosaic as well joined last year. So basically creating games for you to play while mapping the brain. So basically you have these neurons that you need to identify. So it's a collaboration with AI and humans. So they slice brains, really tiny slice, and what they need to do now is to color and map the neurons within it. So AI can do part of it, and human can do part of it, but it's super long for both, and error prone for both. But when you can bring both together, then you have the best of both worlds, and then you have a way higher percentage of accuracy. So basically you have kind of the top player saying this is a neuron, this is kind of like a full neuron here, and then you have the AI saying yes, and other players saying yes, then you know that it's the real answer. If everybody says no, that doesn't fit, then it's not the neuron. So if you're interested in big science, citizen science for brain mapping, this is definitely some projects that you want to check. And the international scene, so I'm going to just skip this to go to the conclusion, because I think that it's already past my time. So the conclusion here is really that the field is really just getting started. So we just started NeuroTechnology. Get excited, but get realistic as well. It's not prime time. Now that AI just became prime time, now people are super excited. But just to give you an example, like deep learning, Yeshua Bengio was working deep learning 30 years ago. So it took a long time before it actually became prime time. So NeuroTechnology is not prime time just yet. I think it's coming. I think it's going to be exciting in the years to come, but I think we're not there yet. So just keep your critical thinking, as I said earlier, and when you see what makes sense. But at the same time, we're definitely going there. So one of the things that you need to keep in mind when we talk about brain simulation, cognitive training, and other things is that one size fits all with the brain is really hard. So when you're trying to do one thing that just generalizes and just works on everybody, that's the hardest thing to do with the brain. So there's a lot of challenge that needs to be addressed in that side to make more personalized device things, therapy, and such. Ethics, privacy, and security. I didn't talk a lot during the talk. We'll do some more events just on that because I think that it's super important. The privacy of data, ethics behind that. One of the things that we want to do as part of NeuroTechX and why we bring people is just to talk about it, bring people together, just getting smarter and smarter and wiser about it. Not necessarily that we're going to change the world just by doing some events, but we might have a chance of steering in the right direction. I think that we live in a world where business, money drives a lot of things, but here we're talking about brain and technology. We're about truly defining what it is to be human and how we want to interact with the technology, not today, but in years to come, in decades to come. I think that it's something that we should all care about and talk. So not necessarily talk today and go out with the banner outside and say ethics and occupy the roads, but just keep that in mind with everything we do, everything we start and get involved in, because now we know that all the big companies are jumping in, so definitely it's getting started. So we'll do more and more events on that kind of stuff. If you liked it, if you liked the event tonight, first let me know. If you didn't, let me know even more. I want to know why you didn't like it and what we can change. And to stay tuned, you can visit us on neurotechx.com. So, thank you.